I'm up here pre-fishing for the KDF National Championship, and what I'm doing today, I'm just looking for more of what I found the first day I was here. You know, I found a pattern of sort of like a jackhammer pattern, and it was where we had a little bit of weeds and grass, but not choked off. But so we went into this really swampy area where it looks like on Google Earth. I did a lot of looking there, and it looks like it opens up into an area that I think that's going to play a lot like what we found yesterday. So, and we got about 4 miles to go to get there, which is the big benefit of having this Torpedo behind me, because we can just kind of motor on, and once we get there, slow down, fish, and figure out a pattern. So as I'm heading towards the area that I think I want to be, I am basically just power fishing, targeting anything that looks good, just trying to put as many casts in the water as I can. And you know, if I start getting bites, that's when I stop and try to figure out what I found there. You know, right now we're trying to cover a lot of water. You don't want to spend all day getting to where you think is good water, and you can kind of assess everything as you're going. You can kind of put a mental note of what you've seen, and you got to come back through it anyway, so you might as well go as far as you want and then check it on the way back, unless you find something really good and then you stop. So that's how I use my pre-fishing, more than just focusing on one spot. I try to cover a lot. Now tournament day, I won't do that unless the bite's so tough that I feel like I have to, but I have that option. So I'm out here today, I'm fishing with my buddy Tim Isaacs. We live real close to each other, used to work together, and we travel a lot together. Makes it nice for, honestly, we break down water together, we travel together, we share expenses. It's just a good way to really make this, one, more enjoyable, two, safer, because you're always, you know, you don't want to be, I mean, we are in the middle of the swamp right now, and if something was to happen, you got somebody else there with you. You know, I know it's a lot of people like to be lone rangers out on the water, but you really need to have some safety net with you, and honestly, it just makes it more enjoyable. Tim, it looks like we got a long way to go. I say we just take off and just motor, skip a lot of this stuff. It doesn't seem to be productive, but it opens up way up here. We are right here, and I want to go check out this. So a little thing you can do if you ever want to know, you go to Google Earth, you drop a pin where you're at, scroll up and click, oh, maybe not. See if it'll do it now. I don't have enough service, but normally you can map it. Let me do it again here. Drop a pin where you're at. Let me let it catch up. And normally it'll come up right here, measure distance, but it's not working right now. And then you can just drop pins all the way through, and it'll give you a running total of how far it is to where you want to go. The farthest I've ever really ran during pre-fishing was around 20 miles. I did that multiple times. Matter of fact, yesterday I probably came close to that. So I like to cover a lot of water. Where I'm wanting to head to right now, from where we launched, is about 4.5 miles up this gnarly chute. So sometimes it's worth it to get out of the way. We'll find out.
shall find out.
So yesterday, what I found, most of my fish were coming over along the wood line, not so much out in these open areas. So, and Tim, as I was getting ready to say that, Tim just caught one over along the wood line. So there might be something to that. Where you see the big, massive clumps of forest of trees, I was throwing back in the trees, and that's where I was getting a lot of my bites. I didn't get a lot of bites out here like this. Now this is what looks good, but I'm not getting much. So I'm gonna head closer to the bank and see what happens there.
What's that, Tim? Hey, y'all watch this?
Hey, y'all watch this? I gotta have a crowd, man.
They're not very big.
Oh, God, it got off. That was a good one. I mean, a good one.
They're on that sunny side.
Ah.
So for KBF this year at the National Championship, everybody needs to take a video of their fish. So what you need to do that, once you catch one, and the way I do it, and it works out pretty good. Of course, I set my fish down in the bottom of the boat here. I'll just pretend like this is a big one, because it could be I put my net up just like that, and then I set my board down, and I get my picture. Now with the iPhone, it's really easy. You've got your photo button, and then you got your video button. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to take my picture, and I take a couple, and then I'm just going to look at it real quick, make sure that I've got everything in there, and I do. So then all you got to do is hit the video button, hit record, and you're going to take that fish, you're going to put it in the water, it swims off, and then pan back to your board. That's all you got to do. So we came back in here and we had some hits right in this little pinch point right in here, like a flurry of bites. So I'm kind of scrolling out on this map and looking for other places that have pinch points, like there, back in here, just all these places, because that is where they seem to be right now. So we got over here to the pinch point that I found on the map, and it is absolutely choked off, and it just doesn't look right. So we're going to go to the other side of the lake and look for some other stuff that looks similar. Tim, I think this is a really good area. I just don't know if it's going to be, the juice is going to be worth the squeeze to get here to fish.
I feel the same way.
But you know what we have done? We've expanded our pattern for where we were fishing.
Exactly.
I'm going to do some things different in that area that I learned here that's going to help. So yesterday I had 93 inches. And I was catching them on the wood line, and I was just covering and just chucking and winding. But what I found today, I look back and some of the places that I blew past, I probably spent a little more time there, because looking back, I think they were pinch points, and I think that's what we're finding here. You know, it's pretty dead until we find those spots, and those spots are going to be key. When you're looking at a forest like this, you got to find something different, and I think that's, so far, that's what we found. So I'm just kind of watching around here, and I'm seeing bait bust and seeing stuff chase, and I'm just trying to fly to those areas when I see them, because they're moving all around this area.
That's got a big head anyway. White jackhammer, white full chartreuse line. Chartreuse gives a little contrast in this tea colored water, but targeting cypress trees. I like catching them that size. Of course, I like catching them any size, don't matter. $19 a quarter.
19 and a quarter?
Yeah. Ain't big enough to turn in on big fish, is it?
So right here we've got just a cut that runs through these islands, and the wind's kind of creating current through here. And every time we get to a spot like that, we're seeing bait. So we're going to hit these spots, see what we find. Right there, that one was sitting right off the edge of this little chute I was talking about, and right where this current's running through, sitting there waiting for bait to go by. So there he is. That's a good one.
Was a good one.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
How they hit that thing and not get it is what aggravates me, you know.
Well, I just learned something there. I wasn't even reeling, that was sitting there. I kind of...
Well, probably 3 or 4 of the ones that I've caught. Yeah, as soon as they hit the water, they grabbed it and took off with it.
Well, I was sitting here talking and I didn't reel immediately, and I felt it pick it up. It was a big one. Oh. They're on the upwind side of these trees. That was a good fish. But it came off. That thing swam at me as fast as it. So we got the wind is picked up here, and that's a good thing to a point. You don't want it so bad that you can't even stay in it. But when you've got wind, it creates current, which in turn is going to help the bite, and it's really good for the chatterbait bite. If you got a little bit of wind, and I think it helps them become more reactive to the bait as opposed to just sitting there studying it. You got that wind moving around, so you know, the wind blowing through these trees is creating little current seams around each one of these trees, and I've had 2 good hits and 2 good fish come off that were laying on the back side where the wind's pushing into those trees. So I don't know, just when you're fishing, when you're pre-fishing, you've got to take everything in. Don't just get locked in on one thing, because we've been all day we've been talking about pinch points. Well, pinch points are definitely a pattern, but once you have that figured out, sometimes it's good to start looking for secondary patterns, and if you have wind on tournament day, that's going to play into a lot of these trees that are out in the open, whereas right now we've been catching a lot of our fish along the edge where these little pinch points are. So just keep your mind open on everything you're seeing when you're out pre-fishing, because the conditions today are generally not going to be exactly the same on tournament day.
$16 or $17 on that. I'll take 15 of those.
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite baits back home on the rivers when all the leaves come off. This for smallmouth. I'll throw this instead of topwater because it'll go through the leaves and it'll still kick, and it doesn't get hung up like a plopper or a buzzbait. But you can throw that when all the leaves come down in the river and you get those eddies where all the leaves have collected. These work really good for anything, but smallmouth will crush them too. This is a prime example of get the bite first and then worry about how you're going to get it out of there.
Tim Isaacs here to show you my foot control steering for my Torpedo 1103. Stole this idea, kinda, but I modified some stuff from Mitchell White. It's very simple. The only thing that I did is I redid the mounts up front, raised it up another ½ an inch to get the pedal away from the mounting bracket on the side of the Hobie. But other than that, it's really simple, and it pretty much will turn on a dime. Almost turns on and on. I love it. Hands down, it's the best way to go if you're going to put a trolling motor on a kayak. The pedal steering is the best. Foot pedal steering.
So we came back here today. We figured out a lot of stuff. Figured out that kind of build on the pattern that we had yesterday, and caught a lot of fish. Tim probably had close to 90 inches today, so it was a successful day, and had a lot of fun, covered a ton of water. So we're gonna head back. We've got about a 4.5 mile ride back to the truck. That's where we're heading now. It's 2:37, so the tournament would be over, so we're going to pretty much call it a day.